Okay, I think we're
Okay.
ready.
All right, we're live. Today is July 10th, believe. Again, same thing as last week. This is a pre-recorded show, so some of you guys that usually comment for us, it's not going to be live. We apologize, but yeah, at the end of the day, we have more guests. Kind of continuing on from what we had last week. We had two great guests, Zach and Bichen. Bichen is currently in NorCal, but both of them were from the Seattle group. And we have two more amazing people to join us today, along with Masa.
Yes,
Just
how are you,
yes,
everyone?
all right. Masa's mic has been steadily been pretty good, but yeah, we pretty much have two more guys from Seattle, Edwin and Travis. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and hand the baton over to them with the usual three questions. Quick intro about yourselves, like let's say which group, which city you're from. Second one would be how you got into Riichi. Third one would be what your future goals are, whether it be your personal goal or your group goal as an organizer. Yeah. So without further ado, let's start with Edwin. Take it away.
Hi, my name is Edwin Dizon. I'm the organizer of the Seattle Riichi Mahjong Club. Um, I got started in Mahjong by watching Saki and then
Oh,
realizing that that wasn't really how Mahjong doesn't generally work that way. So I just learned from it's like how Mahjong really is played.
but that's
Uh,
that's good to
Uh,
start.
and then goals for myself, it's really just trying to get better in general. I realize that I'm not necessarily the person that can pick stuff up better than other people or as quick as other people. So, it's for me personally just steadily getting better and improving within our group and if when I go in competitions elsewhere. For our group, it's kind of the same thing. I want to see our group, when they travel and do tournaments and things like that, do well
mhm.
outside there because I think we have a good group of people here, and I think they can go on to do better things, certainly more than me personally.
Mm. All right. Thank you, Edwin. And next up, we have Travis.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Travis. I'm also from the Seattle Riichi Mahjong Club. I found out about Mahjong. Um, I guess my first introduction to Mahjong was the tile matching game that everybody thinks that I'm talking about.
I see. I
Uh,
see.
but then I saw the Mahjong Club at SakuraCon. Like I saw the
Mhm.
Mahjong Club, the Go Club, and a couple other things while I was working for my friends with the arcade there,
Mhm.
and it looked like fun. I sat down, watched a little bit of I think it was Saki.
Mhm.
Didn't understand what was going on. Wanted to learn, but had to go back to finish up my shift. And yeah, I looked up the club, how to play. Um, there was the YouTube channel. Was it like Yuri Hanauta, something like that?
Yeah,
He keeps
Mhm.
definitely.
like deleting and re-uploading his channel. I don't know what it's called or where to find it anymore.
Three
But he
three
had
hours
like an
video.
hour and a half. Sorry?
3 hour video.
Yeah, yeah, very, very long video. It used to be a bunch of smaller ones.
Hmm.
And then I learned how to play that way.
Mhm.
And then um, Alex, another club member, introduced me to the Seattle Riichi Mahjong Club, and then that's where I've been for the last uh, 3 years.
Okay. Okay. So probably when you played at SakuraCon, you most likely met the Seattle Ricci group then, right? Most
No, actually,
likely.
I didn't meet anybody, and I didn't play at all. Like I just
Oh, okay, okay.
saw it there, and it piqued my interest, and so
Uh,
like I was only in the room for a couple of minutes.
oh, okay, okay. So it's not like you remember, like let's say Edwin or Zach or maybe even Beechen, depending on
Uh,
if he was there at the time.
yeah, I don't really remember seeing anybody. I think everybody's kind of at tables, and it was sort of
Mm,
overwhelming. Um,
uh-huh.
I just come back from getting a sandwich or something, and like
I
I
see, I
literally
see.
only had like 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. How was what was your first impression though when you were at SakuraCon? You see all these people, all the tables there.
Uh, it was a little overwhelming. I didn't really know who to talk to or where to
Uh-huh.
find out how to play, and
Uh-huh.
so um, it felt a little intimidating. But
I
like I said,
see.
I didn't necessarily have the time to invest into it. I thought maybe I
Uh-huh.
would come back later,
Uh-huh. I
and
see, I
then
see.
I ended up working overnight shifts, and so I didn't have time to come back.
Okay. I see, I see. So you said this was 3 years ago,
Uh, yeah,
roughly.
so SakuraCon's in what, April?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So May, June, July. So yeah, about 3 years, 3 months.
I see. And 3 years ago, Edwin, you were already one of the main organizers for the Seattle Riichi Mahjong group.
I don't know
If
if I was
I'm,
the main organizer back then.
uh-huh.
It was,
Or,
I think it was like a couple years ago where,
uh-huh.
when we were originally playing, it was just determining tables that we were playing each week was just the random drawing of tiles to figure out what
Uh-huh.
table you were at.
Uh-huh.
And where I started getting a little bit more in the organizing bit was like
Mhm.
people were saying, well, I played this person, 5, 6 straight consecutive weeks, and there
Mm,
should be a better way of pairing everybody. And so,
mm,
I basically went into our archives because we had a website that had our historical records and everything,
mhm,
and just went, okay, well, for this year, how many times did people play people? And then
mm.
I, for lack of any programming knowledge whatsoever, I just used the Excel cross table type thing to
Uh-huh.
figure
Uh-huh.
out, well, okay, these 4 people haven't played each other as much, so they're going to go play each other this week, and etc. That's
Okay,
kind of where I
okay.
started getting more involved with the
Uh-huh.
group.
Oh, okay. And this was fairly recent. You said it's not 3 years ago, maybe like one or
It it, it,
two.
it actually no, that was probably that was about 3 years ago. That was where I started
Oh,
actually getting more involved.
oh, okay,
That
okay.
like I wasn't actually like head organizer or anything
I
like
see,
that.
I see.
No, that wasn't me. That was that
Okay.
at the time.
Were you also at SakuraCon 3 years ago,
Um,
participating?
so the thing was is that before when I started playing, I got involved with a section of the Seattle group, I think it was, that had
Uh-huh.
played on Saturdays. In
Uh-huh.
terms of the actual convention itself, I wasn't. I was a volunteer, but
Uh-huh.
not for the mahjong room. I was actually part of the detail that would escort the Japanese guests around at the backstages and things like that.
Okay, okay.
So, when it came to like what was it, Luna Haruna and Aoi that one year,
Mm,
I was part of that contingent that was escorting them around, etc.
okay,
Um,
okay.
it wasn't until uh, was it last 2 years ago that so 2017
Uh-huh.
that I actually started working with the room.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. But still, there was a pretty good chance where Travis and Edwin, both you guys, maybe cross paths in one of the rooms at some point,
Uh,
as you guys are both still there.
Possibly. I think
Possibly.
if anything, it was just at our normal Monday meetups.
yeah, that
Okay.
was probably the first time that we would have actually met each other.
Oh, okay, okay.
But actually, so the person who introduced me to the Mahjong Club,
Uh-huh.
Alex, I actually knew from the Dance Dance Revolution scene from
Uh-huh.
like 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I've known him for a really long time, and then
Uh,
he's the one who introduced me to the club.
I see, I see. Got it. So, I think the way, I don't know if it's meant to be destiny, but like how myself and Masa, how we met, it was through Mahjong strictly, but based off of some of the stories that he kind of tells us, like, oh, back in the day in Little Tokyo, like I have a feeling we've crossed paths somewhere, maybe.
Oh, I have a cross path with the Jen.
Yeah. With Jen. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Before she became a pro, she visited
Uh-huh.
Little Tokyo Mahjong
Uh-huh.
Para,
Uh-huh.
and then we actually saw her. But I didn't play with her.
Oh.
I don't remember. It was like more than 10 years ago, I think.
Oh, okay, okay.
And did you guys know the Jen back in the time? Like, you guys had pros from Seattle?
Yeah, no, like not 10 years ago, but whenever she's come back home, like it's like maybe not is it 5 years ago, so 3 or 4 years ago, something like that.
Uh-huh.
She came back, and we would actually play a couple games
Ah,
together.
that's awesome.
So there was one time where we played over at the local mall in Bellevue, and then another time when we played at one of our members' houses. and we got a couple games in there.
Nice.
How is she? How is her personality? Is she a nice
Uh,
lady?
I don't know if
Any
I don't think
any
we
special?
know any. I mean, like if anything, it's just what we see on Facebook and things like that mostly.
Uh-huh.
We haven't actually met up to play in a while, so
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Yeah,
she
well,
still likes the football team in Seattle. She always
yeah,
wear
yeah,
the
no,
it's the
she's
Seahawks.
yeah.
definitely a Seahawks
So, yeah, so Seattle group has a lot of people. Obviously, in the discussion, Jen is from the Seattle area, not maybe the Seattle Mahjong group per se, but Seattle is a big city. When we first did our research on, who or where a big Mahjong scene was, based off of the Facebook likes, I think Seattle's at the top by far.
fan.
Right when we did our research, I think I remember that. So we were wondering, wow, Seattle, well, what's it going to be? And then you guys do a lot of things. Like you guys are hosting um, events, you guys are hosting retreats, and it's kind of timely that we have you guys on the show today because there is an event, Mahjong tournament coming up. We mentioned it multiple times on the show, but since you are, Edwin, now one of the key organizers for the organization, from what we have heard, we'd like to hear from you firsthand about the upcoming Seattle tournament.
Sure. So this time around, the tournament's going to be in what's it, a couple of weeks. It's going to be pretty soon now. It's
Yeah.
July 21st, 22nd. They'll be held over at the Granite Curling Club. It's an interesting venue for sure, but our we have connections with them over there, and since the location usually just lies dormant during the summer months, since curling's a winter sport,
Yeah.
we're able
Oh,
to
dark carving.
we're able to get the location and host.
Sweet.
Um, it's
So,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was wondering if you guys didn't have to worry about AC then, because curling it's on ice,
I
right?
wish. I mean, it would be interesting to say like you could come to a mahjong tournament and try curling, but unfortunately, like the cost of maintaining ice is a little bit high during the summer months,
Oh,
and
okay,
so
okay.
there won't be any of that sort over
Oh,
there.
okay. I see.
In
I
fact,
see.
I
Got it.
think before they would use it, they would use the rinks for shuffleboard, but I don't think they do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Interesting.
so the format of the tournament's pretty much going to be this a standard thing of 6 rounds of qualifying plus 2 rounds of playoffs for the top 8.
Oh,
Um, Depending upon how many we get, and we're currently sitting at about 20 people.
mm,
Um, I've been trying to work with my modified Swiss system where people start playing people of um, relatively like equal standing in the tournament
uh-huh,
as you move along.
uh-huh.
Um, I know that like most tournaments are usually a format where it's just you play everybody else once generally. But in my case, I kind of borrowed a little bit from chess and
Uh-huh.
tried to create a system where you might end up having to play somebody again,
Uh-huh.
but you're kind of starting to like separate people. So like the people at the top slowly start to play people at the top,
Mm-hmm.
um, but without like necessarily the risk of like the equal what do you call it, the unknown risk of like falling out of the top 8. So
Okay, okay.
there'll be 2 people who are like above the cut and 2 people below the cut. I'm probably getting too technical here, but yeah.
Uh-huh. No, I think that's pretty good because a lot of the guests that we have on the show, they also organize events. I think some of our earlier guests, like from Green Dragon Mahjong Dojo, they want to host events. So any information like this, I think definitely helps. So any technical information, any good suggestions that some of the people out there could try, is more than welcome. I think everybody's happy. So
Yeah, my part of the system, like I said, came out of the fact that I have a history of actually directing chess tournaments when I was actually in high school. So I
okay.
was the director for the Seattle Metro Chess League back in high school. and I helped out with the state team chess high school state team chess tournaments in terms of like pairings and things like that. So I'm used to what they use with a Swiss pairing system, where you would pair like all the people who had won in the first round with each other, right?
I see.
And you would slowly get to a point where somebody would just like one or two people would have a perfect score.
Yeah.
Mahjong gets a little bit more different because it's not like a set value of 1, 1/2, and 0 for like a win, loss, or a draw. It's a varied amount of points, but you know, like I said, it kind of bore out of a feeling when when you have these pairings where everybody just plays everybody once, where you get later into a tournament and then suddenly you have like 3 people who are in the top 8 who are about to qualify for the playoffs, all at the same table with one person who's like near last. And so what happens is that person near last really has nothing to play for, and then you have one person out of those 3 who's guaranteed to finish 3rd or worse. And so
that is kind of interesting.
Because at that point somebody's at risk, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say this is the last round before the cutoff. And if you're in the top 8 and one of you 3 is going to finish in 3rd, there's a chance that somebody who's below, like in 9th or 10th, could just leapfrog you because they might be at an easier table. So kind of where this pairing system came about was, okay, let's make it so that the people who are kind of out of it don't necessarily like king make, like in that particular case. Let's make it such that there's still some risk involved, so that 2 people who are in the top 8 let's just say it's the top 8 who move on to the playoffs, that at a particular table there will be 2 people who are above the cut and 2 people below the cut. So those 2 people below the cut can say, I still have a chance, I can defeat the people ahead of me and overtake them, while the 2 people who are in the top 8 can say, well, if we finish 1-2, we're probably safe. Right?
So out of the 6 prelims, it's using that format. What is there a next round? Is there like a semifinal, or do we go straight into the final, the top 4?
No. There's gonna be a round of semifinals and a round of finals.
Okay.
It would be nice if we had like more rounds to just kind of do that split, because one round might seem a little bit too varied, high variance. But unfortunately, like with a 2-day tournament, there's not a whole lot you can do, and especially with people traveling in, I have to account for people who would need to go home on Sunday evening to get to work on Monday.
Yeah, that's true.
And flights out of Seattle I've checked flights out of Seattle. It's like, okay, well, if I have somebody coming here from Dallas, or I have someone coming in here from New York, what's their last flight out? And then, how long will it take them to get to the airport, etc. So I try to put that into account when building my time schedule, so that people can be I can still fly over there and make this tournament and not have to like go back spend a day off and then have to travel back on Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
That is so nice.
Yeah. See that again, Masa?
That's so nice.
Yes. Thinking for the actual players, for the players, by the players. I was gonna. Travis, I'm assuming you're gonna be part of the tournament.
It is undecided.
Okay.
I didn't participate in the last tournament, but I did volunteer to help. Act as judge or to sit in for other players or whatever. Unfortunately, because of my work schedule, and I'm actually not a competitive player in my skill level. So, like, I would just be there for fun, but I feel like it's better for me to assist running the tournament than participating.
So you said your work schedule is kind of tough. Can we ask you what your field of work is, if we don't mind asking?
Yeah, so I work for a company. We have a sort of different branches of the company, including like web development, application development, IT, networking. But the part of the company that I work for is a live events part, where we do it's broadcasting. So anything from just supporting the network infrastructure and actually taking the finished video feed and sending that up
Uh-huh.
to Twitch or YouTube or whatever, up
Okay.
through um, basically like cinema quality master recordings or
Mm-hmm.
actually like operating cameras, directing, producing the actual content.
Uh-huh. That's the division or department that you're with.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
the live events company, and
Okay. Are you
specifically,
actually on site? Are you one of the members of the production crew or editing?
yes, I'm production
Everything?
crew.
Production. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, when I'm in the office, when we're sort of not doing a whole lot, well, I mean,
Uh-huh.
we're always doing a lot, but if we're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
actually out
Yeah.
doing an event,
Uh-huh.
I'm sort of a technical, like I built our in-house instant replay system,
Uh-huh.
or I support, um, the streaming and broadcasting equipment, setting up lights, things like that, and then
Oh,
out
okay.
in the field, like we were at Esports Arena last weekend for a Counter Strike
Uh-huh.
tournament.
Oh,
I was
okay.
helping with the technology that sends the video feeds to all the different um, like TVs and monitors and displays for the main stage and things like
Okay.
that. Helping
I
out with
see. I see.
lighting and filming for additional segments that we aired during the live stream and just
Oh, okay.
sort of wherever I'm
So,
needed.
okay. So, it sounds like you don't do much actual camera work, but you're in charge of the board, as they say, or the
Uh,
switches.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm doing like in-game camera work, or occasionally it's
Oh, okay.
even like physical camera work, or
I see. I see.
uh, things like that. Typically it's like instant replay for our main clients.
Uh-huh. I see. So I know a lot of the groups out there, including us, we record our games and try to, stream it, put it on YouTube because I guess more content is always good. We always try to add um, new things. First, it was just the recording part, but then we started adding the Dora indicator. I mean the total points, the Dora from a certain site that we use. We picked up the icons. We do that, players' names, and whatnot. Lately, we've been starting to do commentary, but there's always this trouble when it comes to wires or wireless systems.
Hmm.
Is something that we run into because not all of us are gifted with multiple rooms when it comes to playing mahjong, right? We have one big room right now, and then we're blessed to have that. But in order to properly commentate live, at least, we have to have multiple walls, so the commentary won't get leaked to the players' ears, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes. And I've been there for similar type problems.
uh-huh. And I know you guys work on a different level, high-end, professional grade equipment, cameras, mics, and all that. But would you have any recommendations for some of the newer groups out there that would like to start doing these um, live streams or recordings and at least be able to upload online? Like specific brands or maybe equipment model numbers at the top of your head?
Yeah, so if you're an individual or maybe like a very small club where you don't really
Hmm.
have a budget,
Yes.
then I would probably recommend using like a Tenho, which I don't use personally, but I'm like sort of
Uh-huh.
familiar with it,
Uh-huh.
because that way you can see all of the hands, all of the relevant information, points, things like that, and
Yes.
it's very very easy to broadcast that, and
Uh-huh.
because like everybody can be playing at home or people can be
Uh-huh.
playing on laptops in the same room or whatever, but then you can have the
Yeah.
commentators, in a completely different country if you wanted to.
Correct.
So that's one solution for sort of a almost free way
Yeah.
to address issues like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then starting to get into larger and larger operations, it does become more difficult. Physical barriers are still, I think, the best way,
Uh-huh.
but other ways that you can try and mitigate that problem are to have a stream delay,
Uh-huh.
which is something that professional Counter Strike players will do,
Uh-huh.
not to avoid commentators interfering with the game knowledge or anything like that, but
Uh-huh.
to avoid what people call stream sniping, where
Uh-huh.
they'll, one of the opponents will realize that one
Uh-huh.
of their opponents is streaming, get on their Twitch
Yeah.
chat, and then
Yeah.
realize, oh, this person's on this side of the map, this person has
I
the
see. I
bomb,
see.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
So the way that they get around that is by adding a 5+ minute delay,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and then that way, by the time that the information becomes, leaked or whatever,
Uh-huh.
then it's not relevant information
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. I see.
So that is one possibility. The way that
Uh-huh.
live esports productions do it is
Uh-huh.
by players will have game audio playing
Uh-huh.
through earbuds, and then they'll have
Uh-huh.
another set of headphones that look like hearing protection, like you'd use for a construction site or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
shooting range or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
then that's
Uh-huh.
actually playing white noise.
I see. I see.
So then you're behind a physical barrier, the white noise barrier, and then the game audio, and then that
Uh-huh.
drowns out the crowd, the commentators, things like that. So you might get a little bit of a sense of like, if you're in an arena,
Uh-huh.
if the entire crowd is going nuts, then you can kind of
Yeah.
sense that maybe, but you're
Yeah.
not going to hear
Uh-huh.
the casters saying, so and so is on this site and whatever.
Okay.
So those are like that's not a very practical way to do it for Mahjong, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Online, I think it works, but how about live tiles though? Like live
for- yeah, so like if
stream-
everybody's
yeah.
playing on an auto table or something like that,
Uh-huh.
I would say probably casters in like they could even be in the adjacent room, so you only have
Uh-huh.
like a one wall barrier.
Uh-huh.
And as long as they're not too loud and they're viewing on a delay, then that's
Yeah.
another thing that a lot of professional esports will do is
Mm.
the players will obviously be playing live, but the
Yeah.
people commentating will be
Uh-huh.
on a 15 30-second delay, something like that. So
I
then
see,
like
I
if
see.
one player is sneaking up on another, the crowd starts to get hyped
Uh-huh.
up because they're seeing the delayed stream and whatever. Like that thing happened a
Uh-huh.
while ago. So it's not the
Oh.
5-minute delay, but it's enough
Yeah.
that information isn't going to be much of a problem.
I see, I see. That's actually pretty cool. I never really thought of it that way to have a delay.
Yeah.
Maybe something that we could incorporate, Masa, in one of our next ones.
But internet upload.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Oh, so
At the
you
end
can
of the day,
actually-
yeah.
You can do it locally. It's a
Uh-huh.
bit of work, but you can use something like OBS and a
Yes.
local RTMP server, and then
Uh-huh.
OBS can stream on a predetermined delay,
Mhm.
and then like the computer that's taking in all of the microphones and the video and things like that,
Mhm. Mhm.
that can create the stream, delay
Mhm.
it, and then send it to the RTMP server, a room over, and then that's where the
Mm.
casters see it. And
Okay.
then that computer can take in the delayed stream, the caster commentary, recombine it, and then broadcast that to Twitch or YouTube or do a local
okay.
recording or whatever you're
I
going to
see,
do.
I see.
Actually, come to think of it, did we do that for when we were broadcasting the Soccer Cup final?
That was the idea. I think we ran into technical hurdles where we were able to get the RTMP server running, and then by the time that we got it running, because we're running into other issues, we didn't really have time to figure out the time delay.
Okay.
Mhm.
But
I think that was something we tried to do for because
Yeah.
what we have this tournament at SoccerCon called the Soccer Cup, and it's usually just meant for people who are learning and whatnot, but it's really open to everybody. And this year we have with somebody, another person in our group, Shane Zamora, who built a camera rig of his own.
Mhm.
We were trying to stream that into our theater room, have the door closed, and then had commentary on that as it was going on.
Yeah.
The final table.
Uh-huh.
in that case, the delay wasn't strictly necessary because when the door was closed, you couldn't hear anything.
Mhm.
Like it was an incredible sound barrier. So
Mhm.
we got lucky in that respect. But if it was in somebody's home or in an office or something like that, then it could have been
Yeah.
problematic.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't understand like 90% of what Travis was explaining.
That's
But
why he has a job.
That's
why he
okay.
has
I
a
don't
job.
I don't either. That's probably that's the reason why I leave it up to them, is
But-
because they know all the stuff that I don't know.
I was thinking about a trade between LAPOM and the Seattle, and I was thinking, who do we need to send to Seattle? But anyway, Seattle got many talent players.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
you guys should try out like a lot of new stuff. That's gonna be really interesting.
we're definitely expanding and doing more things. From Shane Zamora, who, like I said, was built a camera rig and is still working and tinkering with it,
Mm-hmm.
to we're doing outreach. So, um, for instance, Kuro NekoCon, we're going over to Kuro NekoCon in Spokane in August to help them do something similar to what we did with SoccerCon in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're definitely working on doing more things. It's just finding the people that have those specialties and have those skills, and then leveraging that to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing certain things, but I mean, if you've talked to Zach over in Oklahoma, you can see what he's doing, and they're
Mm-hmm.
doing things in leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And then last week we had Zach from Seattle as a guest, and then we talked about and Edwin. Do you guys have a member who does personal detective?
Personal what?
Detective,
Detective?
mm, like Ken-chan, 探偵.
Yeah, I think yeah, he's literally saying personal detective. I don't know where this is going, but do you
Personal.
know any like I think he's talking about someone like
Like
Case
Gogo
Closed, Conan,
or Gogo Gadget,
Go
Inspector
Inspector
Gadget.
Gadget.
Who's like a jack of all trades?
No, you guys need to
Um,
find out the Bill Gates phone number.
That's where he's going.
I see. I don't know if we have any of those connections.
Does Kinyan do this?
um, I don't like Kenyan. Like she's definitely like, I think for SoccerCon she deals with um like donations and things like that. So I'm not sure if she could, but I suppose I could poke her around, but I certainly can't guarantee anything.
We need a Bill Gates to support the rich community. Okay, should we move to next topic?
Yeah, it kind of segues into it because Travis earlier was talking about recommending, maybe using Tangho as a base to start streaming. You won't be able to maybe do live tiles just yet, but Tangho is a good base. A lot of the players use it. We can use Tangho to play with people across the world, neighbor, you could be right next to each other, and same thing with the commentary, you could add it, right? So there's a bunch of things that you could do on Tenho. And segueing that into the next topic is the IORMC.
Yeah.
IORMC. I was trying to practice this multiple times earlier because it is somewhat of a tongue twister for some Japanese people. But yeah, Edwin, please talk about the IORMC in detail, please.
Sure. The IORMC is the International Online Riichi Mahjong Championships. Originally, as history goes, it was an exchange between Japan and South Korea, where like they would send players, their best players, to play over Tenho, and
Mm-hmm.
from those two particular countries, it started growing. They started adding in countries from Europe and I believe other parts of Asia, and now, like last year in 2017, 16 different countries from all around the world participated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, what's happening really shortly here? The first qualification's actually going to be this Saturday, the 14th.
Whoa.
Is we're I'll be running the qualifiers for the U.S., where you'll play on Tenho. It'll be set on 5 different Saturdays,
Mm-hmm.
um, where you'll be playing for Hanchan in during each session, and then you will take your the average of all your sessions. If you play 4 or 5, you drop your worst one, and then the top qualifiers will then represent the U.S. in this
Mm-hmm.
competition. And the
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
competition is on November 3rd, I think. It's the day before daylight savings time ends.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for us in North America, it will be very early in the morning.
Mm-hmm. I
But
see. I
yeah,
see.
so um, yeah, it's definitely it's a fun competition. I actually participated in it 2 years ago, and my first table had Ossipine in it, so that was fun.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow, that's an experience.
um, so yeah, anybody from the U.S. who has citizenship or residency can go ahead and sign up. I'll be sending out notifications for people to make sure that they get in the room and everything.
Hmm.
And then yeah, anybody can go ahead and have at it and represent the U.S. against all the other countries. And what was it, 2017? I think it was Russia who ended up running away with the entire thing.
Yeah, it looked like
Hmm.
2017 Russia won. I
Ooh.
didn't check 2016.
Oh.
So it is
But like the
like
U.S. has done pretty well. They finished sixth, and seventh
Hmm.
the last 3 years. Canada has been in there for the last 2 years, and they
Hmm.
finished 10th and ninth.
Mm.
Also, not only there's a team competition is what it normally is, where you just take the aggregate scores of all the team members, and then
Hmm.
whoever is the highest country wins.
Hmm.
Last year, they introduced an individual competition where they took the top 16 people from the team competition and then put
Oh.
them into a bracket type format to win in
Oh.
advance. And both countries ended up sending a person into that.
Uh-huh.
Um, our representative was George Lou Crayson, and unfortunately, he was eliminated after the first round. But
Mm.
for Canada, their representative Simon Chen got to the finals and finished in third in a very, very tight matchup where basically
Mm.
the rankings from the two Hanshan were reversed, so it was really,
Hmm.
really close.
Oh, I see. I don't think anybody on our group has participated in IORMC.
maybe I should tell Nima too.
Yeah, and
But
some of the people out there. I'm pretty sure Dasuke is gonna participate
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and
because
then
that's a
he's
given,
he's
right?
he's he's, he's definitely been in the qualifiers the past couple of years.
Yeah.
the good thing is he doesn't sleep. So oh, so yeah, the Travis just sent us last year's result in the Mahjong Wikipedia. I'm showing you on the screen right now. Yeah, the Russia won. Oh, Ukraine second. Sweden. Wow, a lot of European countries.
Mm.
Japan got fourth. China, Korea, United States, France, Canada, Vietnam, Indonesia, Great Britain, Singapore, Austria, Chinese Taipei, Poland.
Mm.
Wow. So this is like a World Cup for the Mahjong.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hmm. It is interesting. And how great the honor to represent your country. That's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, when I got the chance to play for the U.S. a couple of years ago, it was definitely, well, it was an honor to play, but it was also nerve-wracking because it's like I
Mm.
don't really want to screw up in front of everybody else.
So let me find a US player last year representing XGO. Yeah, we know them. And who else? USA. USA. Can't find USA.
I was kind
Here.
of surprised to see.
Oh, DDR Dan.
Yeah, DDR Dan. Yep. George.
DDR. Ooh,
Is
ooh.
it George? Daniel Pasqua. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Hmm?
But yeah, I was surprised to see a player from Great Britain
Oh.
finish second, but
Mm.
overall, Great Britain finished
Oh, look.
12th.
I found
So-
Yukitora Kinyang.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kenny did represent the U.S. last year.
Oh, that's cool. Who else? One more. Four player in one team?
Yes, 4 players from each country.
Oh, Korak. Arthur Korak. Korak.
Yeah. Arthur McAnally.
Those four. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like it's like a dream team for your team.
Mm.
And I think you could even see, like, what was it? If you look at Austria,
Uh-huh.
um, you'll see that Lena Weingany is there too,
Ooh.
and she's the
Mm.
one that advanced far in the WRC.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So it's not just, you know, it's not just a bunch of people. There's definitely people you can recognize that
Yeah.
it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I remember this person.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And if you're able to meet them in person at events like WRC or the Seattle Open that's coming up, I think that's another reason why I would like to participate or like to see people participate more in these events, at least here in the US. It gives you a chance to kind of bridge the gap, the distance, mingle a little more, because a lot of the people, I guess, they do bump into each other online often, right?
Yeah, I
It's a
mean,
it's a tight community.
either through Discord channels or just
Yeah.
playing Tenho or something like
Hmm.
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
but it was definitely interesting because when when I was over at the Dallas tournament, people would be like, "Oh, you're so and so from the Discord
Yeah.
channel." And it's like to meet them in person and to
Yeah.
say to put a face to a name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even in Japan, I think Edwin, you're a semi-celebrity there at the Sugamo Dojo.
Are you sure about this?
I saw your picture in I think one of the Twitter posts. Somebody posted a Twitter.
Now, see, I'd have to see that to believe that because I don't believe anything of what you're telling me.
No, no. Well, I mean, I might be exaggerating just a little bit, but
Yeah.
they because you like baseball, obviously,
Yes.
right? Pretty hardcore too, compared to some of the people that actually live in Japan, because you follow the high school koshien is what we call it. You follow that. Um, when we see you at events, you're usually wearing some kind of baseball jersey.
Yes.
You were following Otani or Shohei Otani before everybody knew him here in the States,
Yep.
right? So I think that's a good way to get noticed in Japan.
Yeah. It's funny.
I
We
kind of try to use it as an icebreaker of sorts.
Yeah, yeah.
we
Us too. Like when we first met you, you had the jersey on, and that definitely broke the ice.
and then since our Twitter followers getting more, and then we start doing the broadcasting, and then some of the followers from Japan recognize Edwin. Oh, that's the guy with the WRC with the baseball jersey on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it was. It was a post that one of the pros did, and then somebody commented.
You're
And
gonna
I
have
remember,
you're gonna
yeah,
have
we'll
to show
try
me
to
which
find
one
it.
that is.
Masa, can you bring that up? Can you do it? It wasn't too long ago.
I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
few months. And I know Paige was also on the
yes,
Twitter
he
feed
was
as
on
well.
the Sugamo Dojo picture.
Does she know that?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think I sent that to her.
Okay.
She was in one or two different Twitter posts when she
Yeah.
was with
Uh-huh.
And then speaking of the Twitter, Travis just sent me the Jen's Jen's tweet. Let me read it. Transfusion level. Akagi Jen had her baby, and after the C-section, she needed a blood transfusion. And guess what? The transfusion was her own blood. Cool, sick and dramatic. Welcome to a world, new baby. So she learned saving the blood from the Akagi. I wow.
Hmm. I think that was a post from maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I think it was
That's
like
probably one reason why Jen's pretty busy. But congrats again on the baby.
May 30th.
Yeah. Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations once again. Might see in Japan we usually say, or ask, oh, how did you start playing Mahjong, right? And then a lot of them say kazoku Mahjong, which means family Mahjong, right? You play with family members. So
Right.
it's gonna be one strong family. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
and
is number 2 for her, if I remember correctly.
yeah, one more thing, it's interesting story from Jen. It's LAPOM, we're gonna start working with the JACC, which is Japanese American Cultural Center. They are hosting like a lot of volunteer event or like a lot of community event in Little Tokyo for a long time, and then one of the organizer, or she's working with them. She went to university Jochi, and then she was the how do you say, the classmate with the Jen.
Hmm.
Oh, really?
Yes, and then because of Jen was talking about Mahjong all day, she had no bad image for the Mahjong living in Japan. That's why she came back here, and then there was a they're holding the Mahjong teaching session on every Thursday in Little Tokyo with like a lot of grandma coming, and then she saw that, and it was so popular. That's why she
Hmm.
came with the idea. Oh, maybe we should start doing the Mahjong night, and then that's how we got hooked.
Oh.
Mm.
So thanks, Jen.
Unknowingly affecting people and their mahjong career. That's pretty cool.
Well, that goes back to your whole idea about just commingling and just meeting up with people, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I think one of our players said that I think it was Shisho when he won a recent tournament. He wanted to say mahjong is not just a game that you have fun with, but it's a global communication tool because through mahjong you don't really need to speak one language. You're able to communicate through a discard. There's certain things that you could kind of sense, right? Like facial expressions, that's pretty much universal. So, and at the end of the day, at the end of the game, you shake hands and, praise each other, give each other feedback. So it's a good game. I think a lot of the listeners out there already know Mahjong, already play to a certain degree. I don't think anyone out there is a complete beginner or doesn't know about it at all. But stuff like that, I think a lot of the groups out there are trying to spread. Seattle group, obviously, the SakuraCon, you guys have a big draw all the time. We down here at Los Angeles try to do our thing, and then PML does something. Fanime every year, dedication, Chicago, New York, Florida, Dallas, Las Vegas. The list goes on and on, but the list doesn't have to end, right?
No, and
It's
I mean
still
we're continuously adding to it as we move along.
Yeah, yeah. That's the amazing part, and it's still growing. And Seattle obviously is one of the bigger groups out there. Seems like everybody brings together what they already have as a skill set, bringing it to the table. And we found out today that Travis is a production expert.
Yeah,
Is it safe to say expert?
well, my title I think is a technical events operator, producer.
Ah, okay. Okay,
But
okay.
no, I've only been working at that job for 7 months. I started on January 1st,
Mm-hmm.
so not a lot of professional experience. Mostly experience with like live streaming at home and doing things like that.
Mm. What did you do before that though?
Uh,
Or how did you get that? I don't know if you had prior experience in production and that led to this company, or did you learn on the job, prior experiences?
well, I have prior experience as a automotive photographer, but
Oh, okay.
for a long time I worked at Turn 10, working on
Mm-hmm.
Forza Motorsport and Forza
Mm-hmm.
Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
and then through some connections trying to get into the esports department there, I ended up getting connected with the people that I work for now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I wanted to get more involved in esports and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just sort of a natural transition.
I see. Probably gonna bring some of that knowledge, or I mean, it sounds like you already did, but to your group,
Yeah,
the
I'm
Seattle
trying.
group.
The main problem is that because I work for like professional production,
Oh.
uh, most of the tools and solutions that I know are very expensive for
Oh, okay, okay.
like broadcast quality.
Uh-huh.
So trying to create practical solutions is a little bit more of a creative challenge.
I see, I see. Yeah, same here. Just did some research online, but everybody has a budget.
Hmm.
Budget's always tight. Try to work around what you can. I'm an audio person. I came from an audio school, so recording audio, I have some basic knowledge of. Um, but it comes down to the cameras, I think. Mahjong is more camera. It's not really much of an audio thing.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I have a little bit of trouble with. Maybe I chose the wrong course when I went into college. Should have done camera and photography instead. Let's see. There's a couple other things that we wanted to ask you. Masa, do you want to take over the others?
I'm showing on the meetup page for the Seattle group.
Yes.
And what was the name of the mountain? Was it Mount Rainier?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we visit Seattle last year's tournament. That was my
Uh-huh.
first time visit, and then my impression was the city is so beautiful. It's like I like going the camping. So
Yeah. Lots of good camping, lots of mountains, lots of
yeah,
trees.
it's good mix, like nice city. I wish I could visit there one more time.
Mm.
And then we have a member came live long in Seattle, and then she says she always want go back to the Seattle.
Mm.
Yeah, no, you're stone's throw away from the outdoors. So if you ever
Mm.
always have a hankering for it, it's always out there for you.
Mm.
Is it really like a lot of raining?
It's mostly just cloudy. I mean, okay, I'm giving away a secret here, but
Oh.
it's generally just overcast. Like it's not like the rain or monsoon rain that you have or like heavy rains that you have in Japan. Like I've experienced rain in Japan.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Like that, like compared to Seattle, it's like Seattle's nothing in my
Oh,
opinion.
I see.
I
According to Wikipedia, it rains 150 days per year,
Oh.
but I feel like that's mostly in
drizzle.
yeah, it's mostly like a little bit of drizzle, and then it mostly takes place during like kind of end of fall through like beginning of spring. Like
Uh-huh.
summer's actually pretty hot here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Humid?
Not really humid because we're near the water. I mean,
Okay.
since I've lived in Seattle my entire life, I remember
Oh.
growing up where our summers generally would never get above 80.
Mm.
And now, if I don't know, and now it's like 80 is almost a normal thing in the summer.
Mm. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Global
I've been
warming.
I've been to the deep south, like Louisiana and stuff, during the summer before, and that is a completely different kind of humidity that we don't get here.
Oh, okay.
Well, same thing with Japan too. Like
Yeah.
40 degrees Celsius with 80-90% humidity.
Yeah. I don't want to experience Japan humidity anymore, if possible.
I did for Koshien, not fun.
Speaking of camping, so one more time, what was the retreat? You
Right. So this is something one of our members' page, as we were referencing before, thought up, where we just had a retreat where people would, come down, we'd camp, we'd hang out for a couple days, learn some like mahjong things like tally efficiency or scoring or whatever, just as a way to bond together. And so we did that over New Year's last year, or between 2018. And then this time around, we're holding it in September, second weekend of September. So
Mhm.
the weekend after Labor Day, I believe it is.
Okay.
And it's going to be something of a similar format where there'll be like some time for workshops where people will learn some of the basic things. There'll be a couple of like intermediate advanced things like tile efficiency. But then also just a lot of having fun, just people like either just playing mahjong for fun or other activities that are in the area around where the retreat is located.
So location and everything's already finalized.
I think they're working on it because they were looking for, originally we we were originally going to have it over Labor Day weekend, and then um, the demand for that changed, so we're looking for a different location. I think that they're finalizing it as we speak, but it's definitely going to be on that weekend after Labor Day, the 7th through the 10th.
Okay. So location and stuff like that. Is it going to be more by a lake, mountain, cabin?
This will be, I believe, in this particular case, it'll definitely be like outdoorsy. It won't. I think originally it was more of like a cabin setting. Although one of the locations they're looking at now is just a huge house.
Oh, okay. I see.
The one that we were at over New Year's was similar to that, and we had a fun competition called the Battle of the Beds, where you played a tournament
Sounds fun.
when you arrived, and the winners got to choose what beds they slept in. So if you had like a master bedroom, compared to bunk beds, if you did well, you could find yourself in one of those nice rooms.
I see. That's a pretty good one. That's a good one. Who won that one, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe that was Heather. Heather ended up winning that. I ended up finishing in third. I took the loft, mostly because I told people, it's like, you really don't want me sleeping around with the rest of you guys. I snore. I saved everybody that indignity. But yeah, so Heather and Shane ended up taking the master bedroom. So
okay. That's pretty cool though. Are we gonna see something like that this time around? Would there be another?
It was such a success. They're definitely gonna run that.
Oh, okay.
That sounds interesting.
Maybe a side tournament. Who does the dishes?
Oh no, we had that too.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of language you allow, but we had a breakfast tournament to. It was a day or two before, but was it top half?
No.
Like that?
The losers, the fourth place finishers, I thought, had to wake up Sunday morning to prepare breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was a lot of incentive. I think the Battle of the Beds was Tompusen. I don't remember if the breakfast battle was a Tompusen or a Hanchan.
I think it was just a one Hanchan deal. Where just people were just paired up at a table, because I think originally the Battle of Beds was also supposed to be a Hanchan tournament, but because everybody had a right of plate because traffic was so bad,
okay.
Turning into a Tompusen. I don't imagine that being the case this time around, but we'll see.
So a bunch of side tournaments going on. That sounds like a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, a bunch of side tournaments to get a good bed and not cook lunch or cook breakfast.
Yeah, like you would think after running small tournaments all day long and doing classes or whatever about scoring and tile efficiency, that people would be a little bit burnt out and they would want to go take a walk or go play video games or something. It's like nope, they would go straight downstairs, shuffle some tiles, and then they would play against each other and make little side bets, like, hey, if you lose, then I get, I don't know what they are, Pokemon cards, like whatever they were giving. I have no idea.
I see. That's another good.
That's a good trial. I hope the bigger Green Dragon Dojo start doing this similar thing too. So whoever they win take the suite room. The loser needs to sleep in the car.
Oh. Now that's gonna affect your gameplay in the next day, though. It's a lose.
It depends, because if you're in the suite and you just party it up, it could affect you the wrong way too.
That's true. It's a rare case where second or third place is probably the best situation.
I've just got a normal room. I'm going to bed. See you guys in the morning.
Oh man. But yeah, you guys got a lot of things queued up. Again, the Seattle Riichi Open is going to be towards the end of this month.
Yep, 21st, 22nd.
Yep, and I think there's slots available still, or are you guys closed?
No, I mean, we're definitely still open. So if people want to go
Mm,
ahead and sign up, they're more than welcome to.
okay.
Okay. And then yeah, and then Travis is making well he's busy guy, but he's also trying to make the interesting website and I'm showing right now. Travis, can you explain a little bit about this?
Yeah, so basically it's a like Mahjong specific Wikipedia kind of thing.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
based on the same technology as Wikipedia, but it's specifically. I'm trying. Okay, I should take a step back. So I've got quite a few Mahjong video games, and
Like,
a lot of
how
people.
many you own?
I surpassed 100 the last time I went to LA. I went to your friend's Game Shot
The
game
retro
store.
game.
Yeah, Retro Game Cave,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that put me over 100. So now maybe like 104 or something like that.
Oh.
Um, so I found it really difficult personally when I'm trying to find information about Mahjong games because usually it's just a catalog number, maybe a picture of what the game looks like, and
Mhm.
then description, board game / tabletop something something. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's not really any information is like, is this a good game or is this a simulation or
Mm-hmm.
is this a story-based game where you play mahjong sometimes? So
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
I see.
wanted
I
to be
see.
able to make that information easily available for people. So if they're in their local import game shop or buying from eBay, they could
Uh-huh.
actually tell ahead of time what they're
Mm.
getting.
Whether it's like an actual, play against the pros type thing where it's really official and things like that versus two-player mahjong, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to get into a whole discussion about mahjong video games, but there's sort of a few different categorizations where the older games, because of processor limitations and things like that, it was
Yeah.
all two-player mahjong, and so trying to find a
Oh.
four-player mahjong game for Famicom or Super Nintendo is actually more difficult than you might imagine.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then there's other games that are, like Pro Mahjong Kiwame, where you play against simulated professionals,
Uh-huh.
and you have very structured rule sets that you can play with, or
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's like an RPG, or
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's weird puzzle games that aren't actually
Mm-hmm.
mahjong, but
Mm.
it uses mahjong tiles. So um,
Mm.
looking up YouTube videos, you don't really get a very good sense of what the game is.
Mm.
So um, I've been trying to write up, um, like, let's see, like a Topai dramatic mahjong.
Uh-huh.
Um, so like if most people looked at that, they would think like, okay, it's mahjong game, but without knowing the backstory, you don't really know what it is, and it's
Yeah.
the manga that Akagi originated from, and
Mm.
it's a really interesting story-driven mahjong game, and so it kind of walks you through. Here's some of the challenges because it's all in Japanese. Like here's sort of
Yeah.
the menus. Here's how to navigate the game. Here's example screenshots of what the art styles look like. Um, basically it's sort of like a walkthrough or like a guide on how to get started.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm showing the Evangelion version right now.
Ah,
Mm.
yes, one of my favorites.
Is there a mahjong game that's out there that you don't have access to just yet, but you know of the existence?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
There's still a lot of them.
Yes, the biggest problems or barriers to me playing certain games are cost
Uh-huh.
and the console itself. So there's
Okay.
at least one or two Mahjong games for the Famicom Disk System.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh.
I can play Famicom games on my NES, but
Yeah.
like I can't play the Famicom Disk System games because I don't have either of those. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty difficult. And I also have a lot of um, PC Engine and PC Engine CD2
Mm-hmm.
games, but I don't have either of those. And even buying a PC Engine in really rough condition is still
Yeah.
40, 50, $60, so I can play like one or two Mahjong games.
Uh-huh.
Like
I see. I see.
yeah, or even more modern stuff like there's a Mahjong game for GameCube that I really
Uh-huh.
want because there's not a lot of modern Mahjong games. It's mostly very, very old stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like $100 on eBay.
Mm.
and it's like it's not something I can really justify.
Mm. But if
Uh,
somebody wants to maybe help out with your research and collection, is there maybe some kind of way that they could reach you?
yeah, so I've actually just before we started doing this podcast, I opened
Mm.
up the the wiki to people inside of the Seattle Club.
Uh-huh.
So people from the Seattle Club, who obviously I have like a rapport with. I'm not just gonna hand these out to anybody, but people
Uh-huh.
who I kind of personally know and trust. Like I'm actually gonna end up handing out, um, I think different like cartridges and discs and things like that, and maybe
Mm.
even the consoles and the
Uh-huh.
video capture hardware. Because I mean these
Mm.
are all Japanese, so
Yeah.
typically you can't just play them on American consoles. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like I'm probably going to start handing out like kits of like here's 2 or 3 games, here's a Japanese PS2, blah blah blah,
Mm.
and then let them contribute. Or
Uh-huh.
if somebody already has the capability to play the games or they already have the games, then I think I'm going to open up the option so that people can edit the page and add information themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started this project when I was between jobs, so I had a lot of free time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went from unemployed to working, like 50, 60 plus hours a week.
With
So
travel.
yeah, with
I see, I
travel.
see.
So, um, if I'm gone for a week, and then the week before and the week after I'm super busy with event planning and things, then
Mm.
makes it really difficult to sit down and spend 100 hours playing through a game, documenting it, translating game menus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those
It'll
are
be
kind of interesting because I didn't even know there's like over hundreds of Mahjong games.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that like I haven't tapped into at all. Like there's a bunch of
Mhm.
them for the Bandai Wonder Swan that I don't
Oh,
have any
Wonder
of.
Swan. Oh
Yeah,
man.
there's a bunch. I was really surprised to see that.
Oh.
So I mean stuff like that, or for consoles that I don't have. Like I think I
Mobile?
only have what? Sorry.
Mobile? Like let's say iOS, Android.
Um, I haven't really gotten into modern mobile mahjong games. I
Okay,
have
so
one
it's
that
more
I
the
played.
retro.
Yeah, like I have
Mm.
one.
Because like that's like 20, 30 Famicom games, right there.
I've got 20 something Super Famicom games. I've got probably a dozen Famicom,
Mm.
maybe like 20 or 30 PS1.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I mean, for people who are looking for um, Android mahjong,
Mhm.
it's a paid app, but it's pretty cheap, and I like it a lot. Called you can probably hear it on the microphone. Nagomi by Zoo Corporation,
Mhm.
and that one's pretty simple. But
Mhm.
if you just need to play mahjong at the airport or something like that, and you don't have a Kagi DS or something like that, then,
I see, I see.
it's pretty good.
Maybe
At some point, oh, go ahead.
yeah, we should talk with the Ryan Frenetic down here. He likes
Yeah,
a retro game too, and then he has a
yeah.
console. So I'll
Yeah,
talk
I had a
to him.
conversation with him a while ago. He said that he had some arcade boards of
Yes,
mahjong
Yeah.
games even,
at
which
his
is
home.
that's a whole nother thing that I'm
Mm.
probably not going to get into,
Oh.
or if I do, it's going to be a long time from now.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you're gonna allow this, but one of the retreats or maybe one of the events that you guys host, bring your collection and have people experience it firsthand, or are they too retro?
He
and
did
classic?
actually.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did? Okay, okay.
Yeah, we had a console mahjong arcade at SakuraCon this last
Uh-huh.
year, where we
Uh-huh.
had. I think I brought a few extra that we never put out, but I think we had 3, maybe 4 different video game consoles out with different games in it, so that
I
people
see.
could just sit down and play. And I had a sheet that was the basic control instructions and sort of how to get through the menus and
Uh-huh.
basically how to get into quick play mode.
Okay.
Yeah, because you had the two main ones we had up were Mahjong Fight Club
Hmm.
and
Which is the best mahjong game.
and Kiwami Next,
Yes.
which provided a lot of nonsense when it came to actually like playing it in the theater room. and doing one of Travis's presentations type things where he just played through the game.
Yeah, the Pro Mahjong Kiwame Next is
Mhm.
probably the best PS2 Mahjong game. But one of the mechanics in that game, you aren't expected to necessarily win, but you're expected to play skillfully, and you're
Okay.
rewarded specifically for that. And even if you make a play that could win the hand, you can still get punished for it. And if you do something like that, the game will shout nonsense, and then you lose a life, and there's other things that happen. But like I've been playing that game for a while, and I brought it to the Riichi retreat that we did at the end of last year. And that one, we were hanging out in the den. I
Yeah,
guess,
it was the den
room.
den room downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just brought it as something that we could all, kind of play casually and hang out and whatever. But it ended up having, it's this tiny room, and we had, 15, 20 people all watching, one person play this game, and everyone's shouting, discard that.
No,
do that.
no, discard this.
Yeah, and then somebody discards the wrong tile in accident. Everybody starts shouting, and somebody discards the winning tile, and it's like, oh yeah, we finally got the whatever hand, and people got really, really into it. So we brought it again to
SoccerCon, and we had the same results.
yeah, we scheduled an hour to play it, and I think it went on for 3.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I think we got a lot of information. Again, some technical stuff, some maybe a different point of view. I don't think we ever covered any video games when it comes to Mahjong here on the show, so that's pretty cool that we were able to get that. Again, great organizers, great events coming up, retreats coming up. I think you guys are the only ones that are publicly opening up retreats for groups, so there's a lot of things that I think we could learn from the Seattle group. And yeah, I think that was a pretty fun hour. Time flies again when we're having fun. Edwin, Travis, thank you for being on. But before we close it, any last words, any last shout outs that you guys want?
I don't know about shout outs. It's just that, for those that are wanting to, like, for me personally, like, I know you mentioned goals, but I would just kind of like to see the Mahjong in North America just get stronger and the community get together more. So if you're a person out there who's wanting to play Mahjong but doesn't necessarily have the people around you, it's like, don't be afraid to create something. Don't be afraid to like try to set up meetups or things like that, and do things like what we tried to do, like maybe go to your local convention, and if you can get a set, just put it out there and see if you can bring people in. You never know what can happen in terms of that. And and for those groups out there that maybe we haven't found yet, we're all out here, and we I think it's you and your group and our group, and it's just one of those things where we're willing to help out. We're willing to help people get on their feet, get playing, get their group started, getting better, because that's really what it all is in the end.
Yeah, it's a community. To a certain degree, I guess it would be a lifestyle as well for some people, but yeah, we just gotta help each other. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, no, wait, Daniel's more of a cult. He is at a different level. Yeah, but a great guy though. Like, if you play Mahjong, for the most part, they're all good guys and gals. Very rarely you run into, quote quote bad people. You might get competitive, so in that sense, yes, there might be some butting heads, but it's a competitive game, so naturally that stuff like that would happen. But all that aside, everybody's cool. We're all cool cats. So, Travis, anything on your side?
I guess it just kind of echoes Edwin's sentiments mostly, where if you're part of a Mahjong club or you want to join or something like that, and you have something helpful to contribute, even if you don't think it's going to be relevant or whatever. Like if you have, website editing skills or graphic design skills, programming skills, event management or whatever, it can all help the club. So, like with our club specifically, we have programmers, web developers, things like that, who have helped create some very interesting and useful tools that we use internally, like leaderboards and point calculators and things like that. Like we use it all the time. So
Yeah.
I think just making, whatever your knowledge happens to be available can help out people a lot. And even if you don't have technical skills, but you're really good at Mahjong, or these, good techniques or whatever, there's not a whole lot of really great English language books or guides or whatever. Like there's a couple books that are out there that I'm sure that we've all read the PDF of, but like whenever I would go to LAPOM, there's a library full of Mahjong books, and it's like, wow, this all looks really interesting. This is specifically a book on digital Mahjong online strategies. And it's like, wow, I wish I knew the information that was in here, but language barriers.
That's hopefully coming little by little. It's a long road. We've got in contact with several book authors, and some we approached, some approached us, but at the end of the day, it seems like it's a lot of the publishing issues that they have to go through. Because some of the bigger, all the Japanese books out there, they're from big name publishers, right? And the publishers are saying that there's not enough quote quote demand for English content, is what they're saying.
Yeah, I figured that's probably what the message you get from them.
Which is kind of a feedback loop, because I feel like there's not a lot of players, because there's not a lot of maybe like community support or company support, and so the companies see that there's not a lot of players, and
so that's why we took the digital route. Digital content is easy to access. If it's a website, it's just from the source, no publishing issues. So we're gonna start there. We again reached out to some of the guys in the community that was willing to help, and we have some people translating articles and stuff like that already. It's in the works. Some of them are completed. We're just finishing up on the final touches on the website. So good stuff coming soon, guys. I promise. Videos as well. Good stuff is coming. And yeah, like what Travis said, it is a loop. We want to break that bad loop. Keep the good loops, but break the bad ones, and just mend it all together as a community. LAPOM's half and half. We have a decent amount of Japanese people here that could read and write, so we're doing our best. We feel that that's something that we could put on the table for everyone. So yeah, we'll definitely continue to do that. And little by little, day by day. Masa, any last words on your end?
Yes, I have a last question for you guys. Travis and Edwin, are we Mahjong friends?
Are we?
I mean, it's like, why wouldn't we be?
There we go. Okay. For the guys out there, maybe this is the first time listening into the show, but the show is called Riichi Out to Mahjong Friends, so that is Masa's calling card or closing card for the show. He gave it a shot at the first episode. We thought it was cool. We kept it. It works sometimes it doesn't. So again, that's another loop that we may want to keep or maybe break. We'll see. That's still to be determined. We haven't really figured that out yet. But priorities. We have priorities. Articles comes first.
Okay.
So thank you guys again for the fun talk. If you guys out there listening, Seattle tournament's coming up. It's still open. Check them out if that weekend is free for you guys. If not, the retreat is always there. Active members of the community. If you're not able to make it to their event, pretty sure you'll bump into some of them in other events out there. If not, maybe next year's tournament, because you guys are doing this on a consistent basis. So if not this year, there's always next year.
Yeah, I mean, well, this tournament thing is something I foresee us running annually into the future, and I know that a good bunch of us travel.
Mhm.
So if any of you travel to other tournaments that are closer to your area, you might
Yeah,
find one of us there.
yeah. So, stuff to look forward to. We may not be connected in distance, but we're always connected through, the Mahjong spirit. The heart is always there, or through Tenko. So IORMC. I'm gonna say
Yep.
that a couple more times. IORMC. I think I got the hang of it, right? After a couple tries, I'm good. So yeah, stuff like that, guys. You could always be connected through Tenko, Discord. All the links are down below in the description, so check them out. And next week, Masa, our guest for next week,
We don't know yet,
it's
but
still in the works. Okay, yeah, that's how it's been for the most part.
It's a
Last minute schedules,
surprise. It just
it's always a surprise.
leave them in suspense.
Yep. So I know I always lead the show off saying that we're gonna post it beforehand, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's really last minute, but we always again, yeah, the element of surprise. Um, like with Mahjong, there's some element in surprise too. So definitely see you guys again next week, same time. If not, we will announce that accordingly as well. So until then, keep on playing Mahjong, guys. And once again, thank you, Edwin and Travis, for being on the show.
Nope.
Good
Thank you
night.
for having us.
Our pleasure.
All right.
okay,
See
bye.
you guys.
See ya.